Today on Locked On Red Wings, the offense finally breaks through, scoring 6 goals on the Anaheim Ducks and snapping the Red Wings' 3-game losing streak.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can catch us wherever you get your podcast. And Scotty, the Red Wings finally broke their losing streak in cathartic fashion, scoring 6 goals, winning 6-3 was the final. And special teams also big contributor in this game. And it's not just the amount of goals they scored, but the way those goals were scored too was very cathartic to see as well. So we'll get into all of that, including John Gibson possibly hurt. Cam Talbot came in relief in the third. And then ASP not playing almost at all in the third period. We'll talk about that as well. And, you know, if we have time, we may do a little preview on the Buffalo Sabres game on Saturday.
Are we sure it's the Buffalo Sabres?
You know what? You bring up a good point. Let me double check on the fly here because I can't trust myself anymore.
Are we certain?
It is Buffalo. Okay. Buffalo, 7 o'clock at home. So,
cool.
Okay, we're good. We're good to go on that. Scotty, difference maker in this hockey game. What do you have?
Man, honestly, there's a few different ways to go here, I think. There's a lot of players that I am sure we will talk about and that we will praise and give credit to, because I think that this was, for at least 2/3, a really, really well-played hockey game by the Wings. For me, my difference maker is going to be John Gibson, specifically in the first period. This ended up being, and like he was good in the second too, but that's like when, you know, Anaheim started scoring some goals. But in the first period, that was high danger after high danger after high danger after high danger, and he saved all of them. The fact that he was able to walk out of that period with a shutout still intact is honestly nothing short of a minor miracle, because Anaheim quite literally had 4, at least, if not more, super high danger opportunities with the puck right in front of the net, and they didn't get any goals. So and hopefully he's healthy. You know, that's something obviously we can talk about, the contact that was made there. And he exited the game, and Talbot came in to replace him. And Talbot, you know, like, finished the job, you know, tip of the cap. But the reason why I'm specifically kind of honing in on the first period is just because of the amount of high danger opportunities he faced and did not allow a single one.
Yeah, that very first shift of the game, I was like, uh-oh. Because the game started, and then it was just a constant cycle in the zone against the Detroit Red Wings. It was their Red Wings' second line out there, and the second line struggled all game long. I don't think technically Gibson faced any shots in that moment, but that kind of worried me and set the stage. And in that first period, while the Red Wings actually outshot attempted and had the edge in expected goals, on special teams, especially, those first 2 power plays the Red Wings had were an absolute train wreck.
Dude, the first one, I literally, I'm not even kidding you. I'm watching this game, I'm sitting on my couch. They get about halfway through, maybe even a little bit longer, the first power play, and I was like, is this a typo? Like, are the Ducks on the power play and, like, I'm being pranked? Like, that's how awful it was, dude. I swear the Ducks had more scoring opportunities on the Wings' first power play than the Wings did.
Well, and I wrote down, I don't have the exact players on the first power play, but the Ducks had 2 very good chances shorthanded on the first power play. One I specifically remember was a backdoor save that Gibson had to make on a 2-on-1. And then the second power play that had a little bit of a carryover into the second period, Gibson had to make another huge shorthanded save on Killorn. Like, the Red Wings were so disjointed. And part of that, too, is the Ducks play a very aggressive style. At 5-on-5 shorthanded power play, they're fast, and they get on you in an instant. And the Red Wings like to slow it up and establish the zone in the offensive zone. And when they can't, Well, that's what happened. And that's what's been happening. And so coming out of the first period, I was so concerned that it was going to be kind of more of the same. It was 0-0, and the both power plays they had were awful, like just awful. And Gibson was able to bail them out and keep it knotted at nothing going into the second. And thankfully, that's when the Red Wings scoring woke up. I mean, they had another good period metrically in the second, but they finally were rewarded with goals. And rewarded with goals the right way, too. And that's why, honestly, I hope this doesn't sound like a cop-out, but my difference maker in this game is the team. Because the team...
That's a cop-out, yeah.
It is, but they responded to McClellan's challenges.
For sure.
They had 3 days off to practice, and they knew what was going... Everyone knew. We've talked about it on the podcast. People have mentioned it, online. My coworker was telling me about it. Like, they did not go to the net. So many of the chances that they've had in recent games, even in games where they've doubled the shot count for their opponents, like the Blackhawks, they've come along the perimeter, but no one's gotten in front of the eyes of the goaltender. No one's gone to the net for the rebounds. No one's been trying to deflect those shots down out front. That was not the case in this game. And that's why, for me, it's the team, because they responded to McClellan challenge again. They took to heart the 3 days of practice that they had, and you look at the goals that were scored in this hockey game. The very first goal, Moritz Seider's power play goal, was a puck into traffic with Dostal's eyes. They took his eyes away. You had a Red Wing out front, and you had a couple defenders out front. It got redirected off of the defender and in the net. I think it was Lacombe it went off of. The Axel Sandin-Pellikka goal. He shot it through traffic because with guys out front who were blocking his eyesight. Again, got to the front of the net and took his eyes away, and that puck found its way through. And then the Alex DeBrincat power play goal that ended up being the game winner. DeBrincat out front on the power play. Directed, instead of backdoor looking to hammer it home, used his stick to knock it out of the air for a redirect. Those were the types of plays, getting in front of the goalie's eyes and trying to redirect pucks, that the Red Wings were not doing up until that point. And in addition to that, two of those goals I just mentioned, power play goals. So that's why, for me, the difference maker in this one is the team. And I guess if you want to say have less of a cop-out, my difference maker is the response from the team, how they reacted, because that was seeing them play that style, because that's how they're going to have to win hockey games. They have some skilled players, but they're not going to be able to win hockey games by out-sniping their opponents. They don't have Austin Matthews. They don't have Connor McDavid. They don't have Leon Draisaitl or Nathan McKinnon. They don't have that caliber of player. They got to grind it away out front most of the time and maybe tack on a few odd man rushes. For me, it's just that response to play that style and win in that fashion, for me, was a difference maker.
For sure. And I am glad that they did this against the Ducks. They talked on the broadcast a lot about, so credit to FanDuel Sports Network and the NHL data analyst they had on as well. And, he talked a lot about it too, is the Ducks have allowed, I think they said, more tip-in goals or redirect goals than any other team in the NHL this year. So that was an opportunity for a Wings team that not only is just snake-bitten and can't find the back of the net, but on top of that, hasn't been putting bodies in front of the net and getting goals in that manner to really kind of right the ship and take advantage of that. Now the hope is, okay, you did it against a team that's really bad at defending it. Now you take that and you keep applying it, and you take some momentum with that in future games too, when you don't just let it be a one-off. But I think in this game, it certainly is. I mean, if you want to talk about literal difference maker, I think just the crashing to the net in general and putting bodies in front of the net is probably the biggest difference maker in the game.
Yeah, for sure. And I think equally a difference maker is, and I kind of alluded to it already, was the special teams in this game. The power play, obviously going 2 for 4. The first 2 power plays were abysmal, but the last 2 were very good. The second power play goal, the one that was redirected by Alex DeBrincat, was just a face-off win that played right back to Seider. Cat went right to the net. It was beautifully set up. And the first power play goal that Seider found. So the power play responding in that fashion, but also the PK. I thought the PK was excellent in this game. And they went, 3 for 3 Yeah, 3 for 3. And so both special teams bounced back in the way that we needed them to and knew they could. That's the thing, is like the special teams, despite the Red Wings' overall lack of scoring since the start of the season, the special teams has been pretty consistently good. So that was nice to see. Even, I don't want to say even more so, like 6 goals is really nice to see regardless, but it was great to see that as well.
Yeah, 100%. And that, again, that's kind of a response thing too, right? Like last game, we talked about how the special teams was not very good over the last couple of games, to be honest. So, yeah, that's another just bounce back kind of, okay, the penalty kill isn't going to be the worst ever like it was last year. They still have the ability to be decent. And then the power play just doing literally anything was nice to see, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a quick break. When we return, Scotty, we'll talk about notable performers in this game, so stay tuned to segment 2 of Locked On Red Wings. Let's be honest, most of us can't even name all our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why you got to start using Monarch, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. It's going to help you organize your accounts, track your spending, and get a better handle on your investments without having to touch a spreadsheet. You're going to love how you can review everything with your partner, see your shared goals, and make better financial decisions together. Monarch's visual dashboards and smart tools make it so much easier to understand where your money is going and how to make it work harder for you. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty, transitioning now into the the notable performer portion. Who do you want to lead off with? I know we have kind of a list of guys to talk about.
To be honest with you, I want to start with Ben Chiarot, man. I thought Ben Chiarot was exceptional in this hockey game. And he was, something that you mentioned before we hit record, is that he was not only exceptional, he was exceptional and playing with a bunch of different people like throughout the game as well. Just continue to get cycled through and get new looks and different deployments and different, a different partner. Like, and it just didn't matter. He was everywhere. He was physical in a game in which that was kind of needed. It was kind of a chippy, gritty game that was, a lot of close fights, a lot of scrums, one fight, quote unquote, there at the end. Not really. But yeah, I thought Ben Chiarot, I was really close to picking him as my difference maker, but it felt somewhat disingenuous given the goalie performance and the fact that they finally scored 6 goals. So I think he is one of the most notable performers in this game.
Yeah, he played almost 11 minutes. This is total, not at even strength, but total in the game. Almost 11 minutes ASP, almost 9 minutes with JBD, and then played 5 minutes with Albert Johansson. So they had him in a carousel with who he was playing with, and like you said, I thought he was exceptional. He's had a really strong season overall thus far, which is great to see. He leveled Beckett Seneca in the third period, just like one of the cleanest big hits I've seen in the NHL. Just caught him with his head down, trying to force his way down the half wall and just lit him up. He blocked 4 shots and threw 2 hits. He was excellent in this hockey game, all while playing almost 27, just shy of 27 minutes in this hockey game, which was the most on the Detroit Red Wings in this one. So Ben Chiarot just basically double shifting the entire game was definitely
and was
a
effective,
notable performance.
Right? Like it wasn't just like, oh, he was a body out there and just gave us a lot of minutes. Like he was darn good, man.
Yeah, I mean, credit where credit's due. I'm loving the Ben Chiarot redemption arc here this season. You gotta love a little
so
bit of
far
that.
so good. We're still pre-American Thanksgiving, American Christmas as Brian calls it. But we're
regular Christmas is American Christmas, as I call it. American Thanksgiving is just American Thanksgiving.
Well, you're right. Yes, you invented American Christmas is my point.
Yeah,
yes.
No, you're right. But I mean, if you're gonna roast me, at least get the roast right. Come on, man. What are we doing?
All right, dude.
So Axel Sandin Pellikka, Scotty, scored a goal in this hockey game. weird game. He scored a goal in this hockey game, but then in the third period was seemingly benched, ? Unless he was hurt. The broadcast never addressed it. He only took 14 shifts in this hockey game. Still ended up playing more minutes than Albert Johansson in this one, but Johansson got 23 shifts. ASP had a team low 14. And then you can see the shift chart on Natural Stat Trick. If you want to take a peek, you can see that he stopped playing about 30 seconds before Anaheim scored their third goal early in the third period. So I don't know if, he scored that goal, which was great to see. I don't think he necessarily he had a perfect game, but I don't think he was also overall harming the Red Wings either with his play. So I'm a little surprised that he ended up not playing the rest of the game. So it's going to be a situation to follow more than anything. Just see if he's hurt or if it was a benching. I wonder if they'll talk. We'll have to listen to the post-game media availability after we get off the pod here, kind of get a follow-up on that. But that's definitely worth noting.
Yeah, it's always odd, like you score a goal and you get benched, but it was also like it was a slap shot from deep, but it redirected 8 different times and then found the back of the net. It's interesting not only that he had that, but then you have the Ben Sherratt, double shifting on top of that. Like it clearly was intentional, and I think that is, as you mentioned, kind of just something to follow up with. Maybe going forward. Maybe they do talk about it in the post game. Maybe McClellan is asked about it. If not, I'm sure we'll hear about it in practice or something. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I agree with you. I didn't think he was like setting the world. I didn't think he looked too much different than he has. I'll put it that way.
It definitely wasn't the worst I've seen him.
Right, for sure. So it'll be interesting to see.
He scored in this game, so getting sat would be weird. But maybe there's everything else.
Maybe he's just hurt, but
which is worst case scenario, which is worse than just getting sad. So something to track.
Definitely.
How'd you feel Nate Danielson played?
But it was good. He threw a body at one point too. I was kind of impressed with that. Getting a little chippy out there. Yeah. I thought he was fine. I am. This isn't even just a Danielson specific thing. This is more of just the entire bottom 6 thing. Like I'm very intrigued maybe on, I'm paying close attention to if the Danielson Casper kind of like third line, and then we mix and match and again, Comfer moving up to the second line, if that's going to be a mainstay or not. But I thought Danielson had a good night tonight.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't go out there and like set the world ablaze. Yeah, but it's just more of he plays a very mature hockey game. He skates very hard. He won some races to the puck. He won some board battles. He's chipping the puck up to his teammate or out of the zone very well. He's keeping plays alive in the offensive zone. He played and his line overall had a pretty solid night. They didn't, again, as a line, they didn't set the world on fire, but they had some looks and they had some opportunities, forcing turnovers in the offensive zone for a couple shot attempts. I thought that Danielson looked very comfortable, which is what I want to see, because if he looks comfortable, imagine how he'll play when he gets comfortable. Right. He doesn't just look it. As he continues to play and get used to the pace, I think it more and more is going to come. But the defensive game, kind of like with MBN, the defensive game is immediately there, and he's playing good hockey. So it's very exciting to see, as the Red Wings need any help they can get, especially at the center depth role. And I like the way that they're using him and Casper kind of as a on and off against center, depending on what side of the,
for sure,
the ice it takes place on.
Yeah, and I appreciate that too. I think the Wings still want, in a perfect world, within the next couple of months, Casper at 2C and Danielson at 3C. I think that is their dream scenario. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Casper produces a little bit more, scores a little bit more from the wing. That second line doesn't necessarily need anybody else up the middle. They can just put Comfort there, and with Kane and whoever is on the other wing, like they know that they'll produce. Speaking of, I thought Finney played his game like pretty well. I didn't think he looked the same as he did on the top line, which is really all they were asking for. But yeah, I'm interested in kind of how the Danielson and Casper duo progresses, because I still feel like in a perfect world the Wings would want both of them up the middle, but we'll see.
Takes time for those games to mature, right, at the NHL level.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying do it right now. I mean,
and I'm not implying you are.
For sure. Yeah, I just we'll see how development isn't linear. We talk about that all the time. So
right. I mean, we talk about this all the time too. Larkin didn't start at center either, so it ebbs and flows. It's going to take Casper's got to wake his game up. How cool is it though that your 22 and your 23 centers that you took in the first round, what 8th and 9th was Casper 6th or 8th? I always forget.
No, Mo was
6th.
6th.
Edvinson was 6.
This
is where 7? I get mixed up because those are back-to-back years, and I can't remember who was 6 and who was 8.
7. We were at LCA for
back-to-back top 10 picks that were centers. Let's go with that.
There you go. Yeah.
By the way,
I was going to say I was at LCA for like 3 of those.
Dude, we were together for the Casper and the Danielson one, and we can't remember because we were at LCA for both.
Were we together for Casper?
We were. I remember because I said, "Oh, they drafted another Swede, and he was Austrian." I was like, "Oh, wait, no, that's not a Swede."
I remember because I screwed up.
No, yeah, that's how I remember it. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's how I remember it." Scotty, real quick before we get to break, Max Boltman of The Athletic just tweeted out that ASP did not play the rest of the third due to coach's decision, so it was not injury related. So he was sat, he was benched. So really curious to get more info out on that. Maybe a little bit later, as there's
honestly, it might be something bigger that we have to follow up on and see in the coming days and weeks. But it also could literally just be like the Wings have a lead in the third.
They want to lock it down. They don't trust them yet.
Out there. It might not be rocket science.
Right. I mean, we'll leave it there. Scotty, let's head to a break. When we return, we'll finish up our conversation on the 6-3 win over the Anaheim Ducks. Stay tuned to Locked On Red Wings. When I'm hydrated, everything just works better. My focus, energy, mood, even my skin. That's why I've been using Drip Drop. It's a doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar leading brands using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. You're going to love using Drip Drop because it is part of my daily routine. I'll mix a packet in the morning before the gym or during the midday slump, and those midday slumps hit me hard at work. Hydration has become non-negotiable for me. Drip Drop helps me feel sharper, calmer, and honestly just overall better. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard and keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. Also, I need to talk to you guys today about Game Time. Hockey season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real. Getting tickets can be a headache between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want is to cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I've used it like 4 or 5 times already, and one of the things that's always on these ad reads is talking about the fact that they don't have surprise fees at checkout. They are honest about that. When you click on a price on Game Time, you're getting the price when you click on it. There's no surprise fees. It has the fees up front, so when you get to checkout, that price you saw is the price you pay. You can also get zone deals. So when you click on a section, it tells you which seats in that section have the best price for that area. I've used that a ton. When I went to the Stadium Series, I got tickets that were in the top 1% for the section that I was in. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go.
Wow, you nailed that.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man.
Every once in a while. Scotty. Brian.
Donkey.
I want to talk about the top line because obviously we had a new look for the top six. DeBrincat and Finney swapped places in the top six. The top line played really well. And I think that top line, as long as Raymond and Larkin are there, is always going to have an impact. But adding Cat definitely kind of top-loaded that top line with scoring talent. Obviously, DeBrincat's one goal came on the power play, and his other goal came with an empty net as he scored 3 points in this game on 6 shots, 2 goals and an assist. But Larkin also had a goal with that beautiful 2-on-0 with Lucas Raymond. And Raymond obviously got, 2 assists in this game? 1 or 2? So, 2 assists in this hockey game. So that top line I really like, and they played super well. But it did come at the cost of the second line that's still trying to find its groove. The second line honestly got crushed in this game. 23% shot attempt share at 5-on-5, and just a 19, not even 18.5% of expected goals at 5-on-5. So basically, I just want your reaction to the top six in this game. Like, I thought the first line played well and the second line didn't. Is that worth it?
No. I mean, to be quite frank, I don't think it is. It's certainly something that they're trying to navigate through. I think, to be completely honest with you, over the next, really probably the rest of the calendar year, we're probably going to see several different iterations of the top six. I'm sure at some point, either Kasper or Danielson will reappear up there to an extent. I think there's a chance that Kopp moves up. I think there's a chance that Comfer moves down. Maybe even Finney at some point moves down if he doesn't, produce points. Like, they are. It really is a fascinating conversation to have, because Kane and Cat together have such a long track record of producing offensively, and the top line in this iteration is just significantly more OP, really, than the rest of than your bottom nine. Like, it's just, you have, there is a not only a real argument, it's probably just objective that those are your 3 best scorers. Those are your 3 best point producers, and they're all on the same line. And at least when you had, Kane and Cat together, you had a little bit of separation there. Last year, you had Kasper down the stretch producing a little bit as well. You're not getting that right now. So I think really, we can try and reinvent the wheel all we want. I'm sure that's what McClellan is going to try to do as well, is throw a bunch of different things out there. This problem fixes itself if this team as a whole just finds the back of the net more often. Like, it just really all comes back down to that, because if, again, like, you can just list if Kane starts producing points again, then who cares? If Finney starts producing points again, then who cares? If Kasper starts producing points again, then who cares? If Comfer starts producing points like he did in year 1, then who cares? Like, it's literally just all goes back to that they can't score consistently outside of like 2 or 3 guys. So,
well, and I agree with you. It's not worth it. But at the same time, it's a 1-game sample size. So they won this hockey game. So, and DeBrincat, Raymond, and Larkin are all on the score sheet. So they may run it back, and I'm willing to see it a couple more times before I make a definitive decision.
See, so I don't think you're wrong necessarily. It's not a 1-game sample with it is a 1-game sample with all of them exactly in that order. It's not a 1-game sample of what I just listed of Comfer and Kasper and Finney and Kane and everyone not on the top line in this game not being able to consistently score goals. And so I think you're just rearranging chairs on the Titanic at some point. Like, you gotta figure out how to make sure you're dividing and conquering effectively. And I'm not sure I have faith that this is it. But again, to your point, 1 game sample and they won anyway, so who cares? But it'll be something I'm interested to keep an eye on going forward. I hope I'm wrong about it.
Right. Johnny Berggren, 2 assists in this hockey game as the 4th line played really, really well. The 4th line, honestly, I think was the second best line for the Detroit Red Wings next to the top line. Obviously, much more limited minutes, much easier competition, but the Kopp, Rasmussen, Berggren line played really well in this hockey game. Berggren gets 2 5-on-5 assists, both primaries, I am pretty sure, as I'm pretty sure the Rasmussen one, no, it was a secondary on the Rasmussen one. Kopp got the primary. And Berggren got the primary on the ASP goal. So the 4th line stepping up and getting on the score sheet twice, because it was them out there when ASP scored, as they're the ones who fed ASP for that seeing eye shot from the point. So that's much needed, getting depth scoring as well. Don't want to undersell that. And Rasmussen with probably the best shot of his career, honest to God. And he needed that in a bad way, because we were talking about, sitting him on a regular basis with the young guys coming up with how he's been performing. Rasmussen was just an absolute rocket past Dostal. So great to see the 4th line on the stat sheet, and Andrew Kopp too. So you love to see it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, again, all of that is going to factor into the lines. Like, it really is just going to be a what have you done for me lately scenario until they get some consistency from someone. So, yeah, I mean, we'll even see if the 4th line gets shuffled, upwards maybe in the next few games, if that ends up being a reoccurring theme. But yeah, good for Rasmussen. That was a heck of a shot, man.
And man, like I still got 2 more things. We're already over time. Moritz Seider, a goal and an assist, both in the power play. He's been dominant defensively all season long. Like, his metrics defensively are amongst the best in the league. And I think part of that is they're not burying him with the most ridiculous minutes in the league anymore.
Right.
He's still getting the toughest deployments on the team by a long shot, but they're not the toughest in the league anymore. And his numbers have skyrocketed analytically because he's not getting buried anymore.
Right.
But now the offense is starting to come too, with a goal and assist on the power play, and he kind of needed it. He had a really, was it 2 games ago? He had a really rough time on the power play where he kind of mishandled the puck twice and then panic stumbled backwards, and the goaltender was able to bail him out twice, I believe. So I'm glad to see him provide offense as well as the stellar defense he always does.
For sure. Yeah, I don't even have too much else to add. I mean, again, we talk about difference makers. I think there's an argument he was the best all-around player on the ice in this game. We haven't even talked about him yet. So
right. Well, and you almost take it for granted too. Like, he's
sure.
so good that you take it for granted that we could talk about him every game most of the time with how good he plays typically, but it's just you get used to it. You get used to the level of play.
No, I mean, you do.
He made so many good. It's just those little decisions, man. Those little decisions in the defensive zone where he'll pause and escape pressure to free up ice for Simon Edvinsson or the winger, or the poke checks he makes to deny zone entries. Those little things are get so overlooked. Anyways, final thing on my docket, Scotty. Refs. It was another ref show with the Anaheim Ducks, and I'm starting to think it's because it was the Anaheim Ducks that these are ref shows. Because you mentioned it, the last couple of years, Anaheim is consistently the most penalized team in the league, one of the most penalized teams in the league, and everything, they were calling the most ticky-tacky calls in this hockey game.
Yeah, and I also think that, honestly, the Ducks kind of lean into that, and they're trying to be like the baby Panthers, and they're like, oh, we'll just wreak havoc and screw everything up and make it just a physical kind of bleep show of a game. Because it's exactly what happened when the Wings were in Anaheim too. And I mean, I don't say that from a slanderous way. Like, it's been working. They're one of the hottest teams in hockey, but I feel like that's probably, I would imagine they're leaning into that a little bit too, because they know that if they get a couple of whistles, they're one whistle away from the other team getting a whistle kind of thing, and they can make it go back and forth and whatever. So, yeah, I'm honestly, I'm just happy to get out of there with a win. I'm happy to make it 1-1. Yeah, the only thing that's kind of left in the balance is Gibson's health. So
Right. With the win, the Red Wings advance to 10-7 on the season. They have 20 points for fourth place in the Atlantic Division, as there is a three-way tie atop the Atlantic Division. 3 teams with 22 points: Montreal, Ottawa, and Boston. Detroit in fourth, but 3 points from first, like standalone first. So stupid. I hate this division. The Red Wings play the Buffalo Sabres on Saturday. That is, I guess, a game tomorrow by the time people are listening to this. Stay tuned for that. That's our preview. They're playing Buffalo. Just win.
Like they've already played Buffalo. They lost, so hopefully they don't do that again.
Big time. Yeah. Same final thoughts.
We ball.
We do ball. Same time, same place. It's your team every day.